Hey there, my friend. Before we begin tonight's story, let's take a moment to settle in together. Get cozy, find a comfortable position, and let the weight of the day melt away. Gratitude is a quiet kind of magic. It doesn't demand attention, but it can shift everything, even on the hardest days, even in the moments when the world feels a little too sharp. Gratitude has a way of softening the edges. It's not about pretending everything is perfect. It's about finding the small, steady things that remind us we are loved, that we belong, that we are enough. So, before you drift off, take a slow breath with me and think of one thing, just one thing you're grateful for. Maybe it's as simple as the quiet right now, this moment of peace just for you. Whatever it is, let it wrap around you like a blanket, holding you gently as you rest. Tonight's story is a tender one about love, patience, and the quiet joy of finding someone who sees you just as you are. Where the river meets the pines, the bear and the otter's tale is a story of a big-hearted bear and a playful otter who, through all seasons, find comfort in each other's presence. It's a reminder that love comes in many forms, and the best kind of love is the one that lets you be yourself, fully and completely. So, close your eyes, take another deep breath, and let the story carry you into dreams. Before we begin our story, let's tuck you in. Feel the weight of the day slipping off your shoulders like a heavy coat you no longer need to carry. The worries, the noise, the expectations, they can wait. Right now, in this moment, it's just you, safe and warm. Now, take a deep breath in, filling your chest with calm. And let it out, releasing everything that no longer serves you. Again, in Tonight, we rest in gratitude, not for anything grand or overwhelming, just for the small, steady things that carry us through. The softness of your pillow, the quiet hum of the night, the breath in your lungs, steady and sure. Even on the hardest days, there is something to hold on to. Some quiet goodness that asks for nothing but your notice. A gentle kindness from a stranger. A song that made you feel understood. the simple comfort of a familiar scent. Let gratitude wrap around you like the warm glow of the sun. You don't have to force it. Just let it settle over you, gently, effortlessly. Tonight, you are held in love, in peace, in quiet knowing that you are enough, exactly as you are. Now, close your eyes. Let sleep take you, and when you wake, the world will be waiting, ready for you to greet it with a heart full of quiet thanks. Once upon a time, in a forest so old that the trees whispered secrets to the wind, a brown bear named Hugo lived amongst the pines. He was big, bigger than the other creatures for miles. His paws could flatten ferns with a single step. His broad shoulders could part the thickest bushes, and his voice, oh, his voice, was deep and rich as the earth itself. Every morning he climbed atop a great flat rock that overlooked the river and sang, his powerful voice rolling like the distant thunder. The other animals always stopped to listen. Some admired him, some envied him, and some just wished he'd be a little quieter. But one creature never came close, an otter named Finn. Finn was as small and sleek as Hugo was large and mighty. While Hugo's paws could shake the earth, Finn's little webbed feet barely made a ripple on the water's surface. Where Hugo's voice could carry through the treetops, Finn's was a whisper, a quiet melody only the river ever seemed to hear. Finn spent his days gliding through the water, weaving between reeds and slipping unseen beneath the current. He loved the feel of the river holding him, the way it carried him like a mother rocking a child. But crowds, loud voices, attention, those things made his chest tight and his heart pound. For a long time, Finn only admired Hugo from a distance. He would float on his back, half hidden among the lily pads, listening to the bears sing. The songs were bold and fearless, just like Hugo himself. And though Finn wished he could join in, his voice always seemed to disappear before it reached his lips. Then, one day, everything changed. Hugo was standing on his usual rock, singing a tune so full and rich that the river itself seemed to hum in response. But this time, beneath the deep, rolling notes of Hugo's song, there was something else, something softer. Hugo stopped. The valley went silent. And then from below, a small voice whispered, I didn't mean to interrupt." Hugo peered over the edge of the rock and spotted Finn, half submerged in the water, looking as though he wished the river would swallow him whole. "Was that you?" Hugo asked, his great voice full of curiosity. Finn sank lower in the water, his round ears just peeking above the surface. I was just humming." Hugo grinned, a big, warm, toothy grin. "It was beautiful." Finn blinked. "It was?" "Of course. You've got a voice like the river, gentle but full of life." Finn had never thought of his voice as anything special before, but hearing Hugo say it, Hugo who sang so boldly, who never seemed afraid of anything, it made something inside him feel warm. From that day forward, Hugo and Finn spent more and more time together. Hugo would lumber down to the riverbank, lying on his belly with his great paws stretched out in front of him, watching Finn float. "Tell me about the river," Hugo would say. And Finn, in his quiet way, would tell him about the hidden things, the way the fish darted beneath the rocks, the way the stars shimmered on the water at night, the secret bends in the river where the lilies bloomed. In return, Hugo would tell Finn about the lands beyond the forest, the open meadows where the grass stretched as far as the eye could see, the cliffs where the eagles made their nests, and the caves where the wind sang through the stone. And Finn still shied away from big crowds. He found that sitting beside Hugo, feeling the warmth of his fur, hearing his steady voice, made the world feel a little less overwhelming. But not everyone was so accepting of their friendship. "Them?" scoffed the foxes. "A bear and an otter? They couldn't be more different." "It's unnatural," muttered the deer, flicking their tails. "Bears should be with bears. Otters should be with otters." "They'll never last," hooted the owl, shaking his feathered head. And the more Hugo and Finn spent time together, the more the whispers grew. Finn heard them. He heard them all. And every time he did, his stomach twisted into knots. Maybe they were right. Maybe he and Hugo were too different. Hugo, however, was not one to care about whispers. One evening, as the sun dipped low and painted the sky in gold and pink, Hugo found Finn curled up at the river's edge, his body tucked into a tight ball, his fur damp with worry. "Hey," Hugo said gently, sitting behind him with a great heavy thump. "What's wrong?" Finn hesitated, tracing patterns in the mud with his paw. "They said we don't belong together." "Huh," Hugo snorted. "And?" Finn looked up, his wide eyes uncertain. "What if they're right?" Hugo huffed, shaking his massive head. "Finn, do you know what I see when I look at you?" Finn swallowed. "What?" "I see someone braver than he thinks," Hugo said. "You swim into deep waters without fear. You face the world every day, and even when it feels too big, you," he booped Finn gently on the nose with one giant paw, "you are my favorite creature in this whole forest." Finn blinked. "Really?" "Really," Hugo grinned. And if the other animals don't understand, that's their problem, not ours. Finn thought about that. He thought about how warm Hugo's presence made him feel, how safe he felt when they were together. He thought about the way Hugo never made him feel small, never tried to change him. And then, for the first time in a long time, Finn smiled. That night, as the stars began to twinkle in the sky, Hugo lay on the riverbank, and Finn curled up beside him, nestled in the thick warmth of his fur. The night was quiet, except for the soft murmur of the water and the steady rhythm of Hugo's breathing. "You know," Hugo whispered, "I think we make a good team." Finn let out a tiny yawn. "I think so too." And as they drifted into sleep, side by side, the river whispered, and the trees stood tall, and the stars shone down on the bear and the otter, two hearts that had found their way to each other, just as they were meant to, no matter what anyone else thought. And so, they lived happily forever. The end.